Hey everyone, I'm coming to you with the most dramatically supplemental, completely optional thing that you could ever possibly watch when it comes to content that I'm creating for the semester. But on the syllabus quiz, I asked you a question: what, if anything, would you like to know about me as an instructor? And so I divvied up the questions and the subsequent answers into two categories. Category number one is class related stuff, and category number two is personal stuff. So let me give you some answers to the questions that you asked me. Again, you don't have to watch this, but for those of you who are interested in me, here we go. Class related stuff. How long have you been teaching this course, and what is your favorite thing about it? I've been teaching intro to PR for a couple years now, 4 years. My favorite thing about it is just introducing people to PR. I know that sounds like a cheesy answer, but PR is a really mystified, weird field. Not a lot of people know what it is. You know, when you experience bad PR, as you can see, probably with every controversy that's happened in 2020, the CDC is a really good example of an organization that is trying its best to help communicate with its publics, being the American public and at-risk people, and they have just done really, really poorly multiple times. And there are a lot of conflicting ideas as to if they're honest, if they're figures of authority. And so if I was a CDC, I'd do a lot of things different, but I'm not. And I'm not interested in moving to Atlanta, despite Atlanta having really, really good food. So sorry, CDC. I'm not for hire for you. Question two, I love the fact that you're not in a test. I am the same way. Yeah, I don't know. I talked about it briefly. I have horrible test anxiety. I don't know what to attribute that to. I don't think I had like a really poor testing experience as a kid. I've just never been really great at it. And so I don't want to subject you to that. Question number three, what is the best way to ask questions? Will you have Zoom like office hours or only email office hours? Will you be on campus at all? So no, I won't be on campus at all. We have some at-risk people in my household, so I will not be on campus. The best way to ask questions, we have a Q&A in Teams, we have email, we have direct messages. There's a channel in Teams that's Q&A. Will I have Zoom-like officers? Yeah. So if you message me and want to coordinate a specific time, Tuesday, Thursdays before class are usually the best times. And then we could work from there. I've already had office hours with a couple people already as of Thursday, August 27th. So do you grade assignments pretty hard? No, I don't think so. I think I grade them fairly, and I give you forewarning. How can us students help your experience of this course in particular fall semester be a positive one? Just do you. Give me leeway as I'm giving you leeway. Come with excitement and enthusiasm and want to be here. What is your teaching style, or what assignments do you find are most effective for student learning? So student learning styles are different for every person. Every student learns a little bit different. Some people like voice over PowerPoint. Some people like style like this, where there's no visual aid and it's just me impromptu off the cuff, like the Milwaukee Bucks video. But I think in general, my teaching style is pretty laid back. One of the hazards of online learning is that I lose a lot of the back and forth that I have with students. I like laughter, I like energy, I like excitement, I like critical questions, I like to challenge people in a constructive way, obviously. And because we're not doing fully video synchronous classes like some other courses, or maybe even like the high school courses that you've seen trending on the internet, it makes it a little bit challenging. But for the sake of equity and making sure that students have access to a baseline learning environment that is conducive for the lowest common denominator, that's kind of my design. I want to make sure that everyone has equal access or close to equal access. Why did you want to teach college students about public relations? I didn't really, which I know is a bad answer. I didn't know that I wanted to teach college students at all. I always tell people when I meet them for the first time, and this is leaking into personal questions, I always tell people when I meet them for the first time that I'm a teacher, because I was a basketball coach. I've my college essay to Illinois State included me helping a story about me helping my younger cousin who has severe learning disabilities do his homework. And so I feel like I've always kind of been a teacher by default. I just don't think I knew that until I kind of stumbled into graduate school and started teaching public speaking as part of my assistantship. And then it kind of just went wild from there. So that's kind of the source of it. What can I do to be successful in your class? Ask questions, be present, be excited to be there. I think it's it's similar to this idea of having a positive experience in a particular course. I think all of that goes hand in hand. One of the questions that I think was particularly funny is, how have you been able to make so many connections? Honestly, if you look at the guest speaker list, two of the guest speakers I've never talked to before other than Twitter, and I literally tweeted at them. I replied to different threads that they were in. I said, hey, I'm a college professor. I teach a public relations course. I think you'd be a great speaker in my class. Would you have interest? And I've done that every semester that I've ever been teaching. Is I've asked people, I've gone on LinkedIn, I've gone on Facebook, I've asked people if they know anybody, and I've just put myself out there. And I think that people are in general interested in helping. A lot of people who had somebody help them want to pay it forward in a lot of ways. And so anytime that which isn't a lot, anytime that I get asked to do something, to be a guest speaker in a class or to help a student with their resume or cover letter, I try to make myself available, because I would want somebody to do that for me. And I'm naturally pessimistic, but it's one little bit of optimism that I like to hold on to. Okay, boring class stuff out of the way. Personal stuff. Excellent taste in music, by the way. Thank you. What is your favorite thing to eat that tells us a lot about a person? I have learned. That's interesting. So I grew up in a second generation American household. So my grandparents are from Greece originally, and my mom is a first generation American. So she was the first generation of our family to be born in America. But I grew up in a Greek household, which a 3-generation household too. So my grandparents, my parents, and I, and my sister, older sister. And so I grew up eating Greek food, like traditional Greek cuisine, or everything that was a little bit Greekified, right? Just a little bit of lemon and olive oil and oregano and basil. So I like traditional Greek cuisine. There are these little phyllo dough triangles that are called tiropites. It's phyllo dough that is baked, and inside of it there's traditionally like a feta cheese, a Greek cheese. That's really good. Spanakopita, which is the spinach, spinach and rice. There's avgolemono soup, which is lemon chicken soup. That's really good. Pasticho is my favorite. It's like a Greek lasagna layered of meat and noodles. I can go on, but all cuisines I love Chinese food, at least the Americanized Chinese food. I love Japanese food for sure. Sushi, Italian, you can't really go wrong with like a risotto or anything like that. So I just love food in general. I love cooking too. I don't know that I've talked about that, but I meal prep for myself, my wife, my son, my mother-in-law. So I'll do like a grilled chicken with a veggie, like a broccoli or carrots or green beans or something like that, and some sort of starch. So typically like a washed brown rice, a long grain brown rice, whole grain noodles, things like that. I would like to, what motivates you as an instructor? Just seeing people thrive, being a resource for people, being somebody who can, I don't know, being somebody who can believe in a student, that can see the potential in them, that can learn the balancing act of pushing a student when they need to be pushed, but also being nurturing and being coddling in some ways. I think so. It works for me. And one of the things that I learned from coaching is that everyone's a little bit different in terms of how they get motivated to enact change, enact behaviors. There are some people that you can yell at and say, wake up, you need to focus. And they're really receptive to that. And that can be particularly helpful. There are other people that you yell at them and they shut down. And so my whole job is trying to figure out interpersonally, how can I figure out what makes you tick? And a lot of that is testing the waters, is giving you a little bit of harsh feedback, seeing how you react to it, and then making the decision from that. My dilemma is always making sure that at the forefront of everything that I do is that I want you to know that I care about you. I care about your success. And unfortunately, sometimes people have this attribution where they directly attribute the degree of feedback that is given with the degree of care. So I give you really critical feedback because I want you to become a better writer, a better thinker, a better scholar. That is not indicative of me not liking you. As a matter of fact, I would say the relationship is in the opposite direction, which is I give you that extra feedback because I think you could take it and I want to push you to the next level. But I have to make sure, and this is where being a communication professional is really important. I have to make sure that I'm communicating that from the jump, and that I'm not just giving you feedback and leaving you out to imagine or interpret that, because some people will automatically go into a shell and think that, oh, this professor hates me because of that. I'm like, no, I want you to do better, and I think you can do better. I know you can do better. And so unfortunately, the feedback process can be a little bit stunting and deflating at times, but hopefully the end product at the end of the journey is getting a little bit better, which is why we're all here. What do you do for fun? I don't know. Would it fun? It's I hang out with my kids. I hang out with my wife. We go to the park. We like the park a lot, so that's really cool. I used to play basketball. I used to pick up basketball twice a week. Can't do that anymore. Yeah, pretty much it. What is your favorite genre of music? I like all music except country. But yeah. So thanks for listening. Just in case people wanted the supplemental stuff. Impromptu from Professor Blight. All right, y'all. See ya.